There we go. Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought I heard music. All right, we all set. Well, good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Thank you for coming out tonight. I don't know if some of you knew, maybe you didn't, but every other Tuesday here at Monomore Coffee and Wine, we do an open mic as well as a featured reader. Could be a poet, could be a musician, could be a comedian, could be all three. So welcome. Hopefully you'll enjoy the night. We have a very decent featured reader for you in a moment. But just wanted to kind of let you know, like I said, we do this every other Tuesday. We've been here for almost 7 years now. And we're grateful to Monomore Coffee and Wine for hosting us all of this time. So thanks as always. Please, if you're hungry, get some food. If you're thirsty, get some coffee or beer or wine or something like that. And always make sure to tip your server heavily. Well, why don't we get started? Oh, by the way, I'm Tim W. Brown, in case you don't know me. I'm co-host here and the MC. Behind me is Amy Joy Robichaud, who's the other co-host. Come have a seat. Yeah. We have a featured reader, as I mentioned, and then we'll have an open mic. Be hybrid. There'll be somebody on Zoom as well as people live here. But let's get the show on the road. I usually read a couple of poems to start out, or at least one. I tend to read poems from an app called Poem Hunter. Unfortunately, Poem Hunter seems to be down tonight. Weird. So I had to go scrambling for another poem. I found one that's by Dorothy Parker. For those of you who may not be familiar with Dorothy Parker, she used to be a writer in the 1940s and 50s and so on for the New Yorker magazine. She was probably the most snarkiest writer the New Yorker ever had. And this poem here is snarky as all of them. It's entitled Resume. Razors pain you. Rivers are damp. Acids stain you. And drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live. Dorothy Parker, everyone. I will read a short poem of my own. I've never really read it in public before, and it's still kind of a work in progress, but hey, you're my guinea pigs tonight. This is entitled Salad, and it was kind of written during a workshop that Art in the Basin sponsored last year with the poet Sarah Stern. We do workshops as well as readings. We have a workshop coming up in January, I believe, right? With Orlando Ferrand, who's a Bronx poet, very well known, great teacher. So do check out that at our various social media sites, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. This is entitled Salad. Her mind is a salad tossed inside a bowl that is her cranium. Exotic ingredients for a salad anyway. Olives, avocados, jicama, black beans contend in her mind. O for orgasms never reached. A for assholes who traumatized her. J for the Jeremiah she lives daily. B for the bitch she tries not to be. It's her life story, tossed topsy-turvy. Salad, yeah. We want to welcome back an old friend of Art in the Basins. Well, yeah, I guess I always say old, but I guess I mean good, long-standing friend, right? He's not old, he's just a long-standing friend. Anyway, I'm old, so I have old friends, but anyway. He's read here a couple of times as a featured reader. We're really glad that he came back tonight. He's here by the good graces of Poets and Writers, which is an organization that supports writers and poets, as the name suggests. They also sponsor readings. They love us here at Art in the Basin. We're in the Bronx. They think we're underprivileged, so they give us money. Well, they give the writers money. They don't give us money. They give the writers money. It always goes to the writers, I should mention. So anyway, on behalf of Poets and Writers and the New York City Council and NYC Arts, the Cultural Affairs Commission, or whatever it's called, everybody, please welcome Michael Steigman. That's your spot.
This is
And that's
mic.
for the Zoom people. And
Very
so,
good. Okay. Sounds great. Wonderful. Good evening, everybody. How is everyone tonight? I've hosted trivia for the past couple of months, and this is a very different vibe, so excuse me if I'm too high energy. Can we give a round of applause to Tim and Amy Joy for coordinating this event and Art in the Basin? I took a little different direction with some of my writing this evening, and I talked a little more about some personal things. First one is called Mom. In July, after we ate, Mom's eyes wide, pleading to me. My leg hurts. What should I do? See a doctor, I said. Anything but that. The writing's on the wall. In August, Mom tried putting a pen in her hand and it was all scribbles. She tried talking, but her syllables glued into one long groan. So she called 911 on herself. Growing up, she left me reminders on a legal pad. P.S. I'll be home late. P.S.S. There's money for dinner. P.S.S.S. I love you. 4 missed calls from home. And Mom would say, sorry, just wanted to say hi. Not an emergency. I would get mad, she would stop, and then she would do it again a few weeks later. In November, we pushed her wheelchair to a diner across the street from rehab, where she held chicken soup to her lips and got to eat real food for the first time in 4 months. It's so good, she said. Now it's December, and I'm mad I'm losing my mom. I try keeping things tidy. At the top of the closet, something pushed a box off the ledge, and it fell. The clock inside crashed to the floor, exploding, spilling time and hands all over the living room. So I grab the broom and I sweep, so my hands have something to do besides cover my eyes. That was the saddest one. I'm not going to do all sad tonight. This next one I call Home. As a child, raised to ask questions, find something better. I had books, jewels, teachings, histories, stories, symbols with questions embedded in gold. Questions inscribed in the book of life. How do I do better? How do we do better? Where do we go? How do we give instead of take? A people so deeply in love with their culture, who refused to lose their identities and chose to lose their lives by the honor of God rather than convert. So I ask more questions. Why choose death instead of life? What do you take when you choose death instead? Then I was taught about the nightmare, the devil's maw, screaming masses, brainwashed, hungry for blood, and with every intent to erase. What would you do when thousands of years of history is under threat, exterminated to extinction? Would you say something? Would you do something? Are you in danger when it's somebody else's life? And then lo, against all the odds, just like in times of yore, liberation, a holy miracle to be a part of the group who survives and survives again and again. And as a reward, we, a homeless people, were given our very first home. But that's odd, isn't it? To find an empty home that looks like it was lived in already. I was taught it was built just for me, just for us. I was mailed an engraved invitation by my ancestors to collect all the sand scattered across the diaspora and build a beach near the waves to sip on Coca-Cola in a hammock. Can I ask questions about this house? Who lived here before? What were they like? Where did they go? Why did they leave? Thank you. I've got two more, and then I think we're opening it up to the crowd for open mic, right? Yeah. Okay. The sky is gone. Everyone woke up this morning and it wasn't there anymore. The sky is glass, or a screen, crisp and clear, where bird migration patterns turn to a circle, as though Times Square was its own greenhouse. If outer space had been packaged inside saran wrap, the whole planet crystallized, a real-life snow globe. Our sky has been replaced with news and ticker tape, words and updates, flashing lights on glass. The big screen takes a whole new meaning. Movies seem so small now. The sky is edited for maximum viewership. Commercials for the weather. The sky even has a slogan: chin up. We breathe easier knowing each ribbon of light cuts through like a garland, keeping toxins outside. The sky is clear as day, and we grow everything we need here. The next morning, when we look up, above, there's lightning, or a long zigzag in the sky, and we all go back to our phones. And this last one, I wrote by hand. Oops. This one's called Goodness. There is goodness. A family of four on the train grabbing little tinfoil kisses from their dad's backpack one by one. A wish, a question. What are you up to this weekend? I'm in town. We're growing older. Let's grab a drink. Let's meet up to share what we've learned. What art, what music, what has inspired you? How is your heart doing in all this? And then, after an hour or two, we say till next time, and we leave, a little more full with love, and we adventure further separately with goodness, with the love from our time and the time we took to make a little time. Thank you so much. Oh.
too short a time, but thank you so much, Michael. Michael is such a great poet, very personal and honest in his work, and I'm just so happy that he's been a supporter for us for a very long time. It's now time for the open mic portion of the evening. Don't really have anybody here who's signed up. Is anybody interested in reading a poem or two at the open mic here in the cafe? Anybody here? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so we have a pretty quiet night. Might be a pretty quick show, so you can get on with your dinner and conversations. Thank you so much for your indulgence. We are Art in the Basin. You can find us on Facebook at AITB Art in the Basin, on Instagram at Art in the Basin, and on YouTube at Art in the Basin. So please do check out our social media sites as well. You can find us on Eventbrite, where you can sign up for the hybrid open mic and or the in-person open mic. So look for Art in the Basin at Eventbrite. And let's see, what else? Oh, we will be back in 2 weeks. A very exciting program. Be a poet from the neighborhood, up the hill, the general neighborhood, Riverdale as opposed to down the hill here in Kingsbridge. Perry Brass will be here. Perry is a widely published poet, self-help guru, and practically a legend in the early gay rights movement. And so please do come out and check out Perry. He's a fabulous reader and a really nice guy, and just full of like vim and vigor. So let's see, we have one person, it looks like, on Zoom that will do something for you during the open mic. It'll be Frank Oshman, but give us a second so we can set up the sound so you can actually hear and see him. So 1 second, Frank. We'll give you the high sign when it's time. What's that? Mute? He's a hilarious comedian. Hope you laugh as much as we do when he speaks.
Right. Frank, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hold on.
You have to maybe turn up the sound a little. Oh, what's going on here?
Frank, can you hear us?
Oh yes.
Wait, yeah, but it's not on Wi-Fi. Give me a second.
Sorry. 1 second. We'll get this set up here.
I hear you fine.
I mean, Bluetooth.
Yeah.
How about now, Frank?
I hear you fine.
Oh, why is it not connected?
Can you hear me okay, or I just as loud as I could hear?
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Gotta figure out the audio. How about now, Frank?
I hear you okay.
All right, just this. It's small enough, and not many people are rowdy, so we're good, right, guys? All right, Frank Lockman.
So I'm gonna try some new stuff tonight. If you like, if there's still time, I can do the tried and tested. So I want to try some new stuff. So in 1987, I placed a personal ad, and I vowed never to do it again. When you look at the people I met, I'm going to tell you a story about all of them. First, we have someone I'll nickname the Greenwood Lake Wacko. Got together for dinner. She looked like a nice person. She was pretty. She smiled at me. And then she drew me a bombshell. Frank, can you help me pay for an abortion? Now, I don't know if I was in a soap opera or if I was one of those reality TV shows, what would you do? I just kind of said, you mean you want me to help you pay for dessert? No, I really want an abortion. You pay for an abortion. So I still wasn't taking it seriously. So in other words, you want to split dinner. So finally, she even got crazier. She brought out this flow chart. As well, if we date for 3 weeks, you only have to pay half. If we get together for 6 weeks, you don't have to pay anything. So that was the first one. Then we had something I call her Paylene Pauline. We went to the racetrack. I gave her a tip, and she ended up winning $500. I thought she'd treat me to a nice restaurant, at least something with a tablecloth. No, we go to the dollar store, and she buys these noodles for $1. She even had a coupon. So I thought I would outfrugal her. We went to the thrift shop. So instead of buying a shirt with buttons for full price, I bought a shirt for half price with only one button missing. So that didn't work out too well. And then they came LA Wacko. Oh, is she a doozy? She said, I have a house in Pebble Beach in Alfa Romeo, Pebble Beach, where you have the stars, the golf courses, the mansions. Well, I went to a house. It turned out it was nothing but a tent overlooking the shed of her neighbor. Then she told me she had an Alfa Romeo. Her Alfa Romeo was nothing but a minivan that would cost more than it rev. The only thing Italian about the Alfa Romeo was the smell of pizza in the back. Then she told me she would take hush money from the milkmen. I never knew that milkmen even make deliveries anymore. Well, turned out there must be this underground milk delivery that she's in charge of. Never heard of something like that. And then she actually stole beer signs. So I call it a beer sign bandit. She said, yeah, the element of surprise in all my running shoes, I'm able to get away with it. So as I said, no more personal ads. At least that's what I said. But 11 years later, I did place a personal ad. And how about go to my good stuff now? And I met the love of my life. In fact, Trixie and I, we just celebrated our 25-year anniversary. Thank you. I thought I might get a standing ovulation. Now, I don't know how Trixie feels about this, but I'm still carrying a picture of my ex. What do you think? Picture of my ex. Next time I'll show you my triple X. In fact, artificial intelligence, that's actually getting into the triple X business. I went to one of those stores and I saw a blow-up doll faking an erection. So when they say, Frank, what did you see in Trixie? Well, she's attractive, she's sweet, she has a sense of humor. When they say, Trixie, what did you see in Frank? I don't know, but I used to be very nearsighted. I try not to get too hung up on looks, but I have to admit, since we met through the phone personals, I didn't know what she looked like until we met for the first time. So I had a backup plan. If I didn't think she was attractive, I could have walked up to her and says, are you Janet? I was at work. Everybody was asked, what keeps you up at night? First person goes computer failures. Second person goes deadlines. They got to me and I said, Viagra. Okay, don't get me started with Viagra. Viagra is expensive. It'd be much cheaper if I was single. I can pay women to pretend they're having a good time. I went to the doctor and he said, Frank, if you take Viagra, you'll have an erection on demand. Problem is, I just turned 61. There's little demand for my erection. And Trixie, well, she doesn't even bother to fake orgasms. She's very happy to feign interest. And the only time she'll scream in bed is when the Wi-Fi signal goes out. Okay, the other day Trixie was screaming, yes, yes, don't stop. My neighbor's new. I was doing the dishes. Trixie loves role-playing in bed. Her favorite role is sleeping woman. The last time we made love, she was carrying in her hand, I thought it was a telephone. Turned out it was a life alert button. She just loves the sound of the words. Help! He collapsed on top of me and won't get up. Now, I hate to admit this, but before Viagra, if I were to make love, I'd also hit the life alert button. It's true. Help! I've fallen and I can't get it up. Now, before I met Trixie, I did terrible with pickup lines. I said to women, I'm a famous chess player. Really? Yes. I'm looking to meet a woman to make some moves on. Heck, at my age, I do far better chess than I do with women. It's easier to get mated. I also notice a lot of women in their 20s and 30s smile at me, and I'm realistic. I have 2 chances with them, slim and none. Okay, don't rub it in the audience. So, I was in Costa Rica, and all the women and the young women were flirting with me. So I'm thinking, why might they be interested? Maybe they think I can help them get a green card. Maybe I thought I was a sugar daddy. But they might be disappointed if I open up my wallet and they find out I'm just a high fructose corn syrup daddy. And finally, before I met Trixie, as I've already gone over, I've had nothing but psychotic ex-girlfriends. You would think when I place a personal ad, I might meet a woman close to what I'm looking for. Single male, enjoys music, dining, comedy, seek a woman who is honest, with similar interests for a possible long-term relationship. That's reasonable, right? I don't know what's gone wrong, as you've already seen, but when I look at the women I met in the personals before Trixie, the ad seems to say something totally different. Single male, enjoys alcoholism, boxing, doing the Macarena, seeks a liar, a kleptomaniac, for failed relationship. And things actually worked out with one of my psychotic exes until it ended kind of abruptly. I gave her a ring, and she gave me the finger. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Frank.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody again, Frank. I do wish him luck in future relationships.
No, mine's fine now.
We have a late entry. Actually, not really. She was signed up, so we're really glad to see her. But she still has her coat on, so let's give her a second to get undressed. Undressed is probably the wrong word, but Mindy has been a featured reader here in the past. She did some kind of personal essays and so forth. She's also a very funny stand-up comedian, so check her out sometime. She performs around the Bronx. Maybe she'll tell you the next show she's going to be in, which I understand is maybe this month or later this month. Oh, Friday. This Friday. Okay, she'll tell you all about it. So without further ado, if you're ready, everybody, Mindy.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, everyone. Tonight I was going to just read a short story, a true story. I've been writing mommy stories, so this is one. And my son is big now, but this is from when he was precious. Okay. A mom moment during the Clinton era. Mom, my shows aren't on again because of the president's sex. I was cleaning the bathroom when I heard his announcement. I slapped my forehead. To my knowledge, there is no parenting book for this situation. After checking the other channels, I asked, would you like to see a video? He was home from kindergarten and normally would be unwinding by laying on the love seat and watching the cartoon Arthur. One fucking blowjob disrupted everything. I wish this much airtime was given to all the unhoused Americans living on the sidewalks and in the subway tunnels. When I was pregnant, I wondered how I'd one day explain people sleeping on the street to my child. I never imagined having to explain an extramarital presidential fellatio session to my child. It's not like I brought it up at dinner. I'm glad things were good at school today, honey. Guess what? The president got orally pleasured by his intern. No, it was being obsessed over throughout the day and night on the news by people who probably need some oral pleasuring and get no volunteers. I felt I should address what he heard on television. I did have a problem with my president deceiving his spouse, so I was unsure what to say to my almost 5-year-old. Honey, the president did do a bad thing, but it was because he was a bad husband, not a bad president. Whatever he did should be between him and his wife. It should not be on the news every day, and it should definitely not be interrupting your shows. Thank you. Anyway, so I do a number of things. I write poetry, memoir, and stand-up comedy. And Friday at a place called The Artist, it used to be the Starving Artist Cafe on City Island. It's 249 City Island Avenue, right on the main strip. And I book it, I host it. We have good comics there coming Friday night, 8 o'clock. And for good comedy, it's a very reasonable price. $15 to get in and no minimum. And you can even bring your own bottle if you want, and they will give you a corkscrew, glasses, ice, whatever. They also have a menu of light fare and desserts. So if you're into City Island, you could spend the day. It's beautiful around the holiday time. And also come for comedy and dessert at The Artist at 8 o'clock. I'd love to see some of you. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Mindy. Yeah, please do check her out. Maybe. Anyway, I guess I have to wrap it up. My director has told me wrap it up and get this. We'll get going here. It's a little bit of a short night, but hey, it was quality. Quick but quality. That's the best. I'm sorry. Sure. Yeah. Why not? Over. And this is for the Zoom people, so make sure you project.
Awesome. I can project even without it.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at that. Hey, y'all. I came to work here today because I love Monomore. Shout out to Monomore for being such a staple in our community, especially for folk that work from home. Folk that are just small businesses like myself that get to come and work and also just have my child with me. So I'm appreciative. This is dope that this is happening. But I also am aware of what's happening in the world right now. And so anytime that I can use a platform for us to uplift the genocide that is happening in Palestine, then I'm gonna do that. So I hope that y'all are not uncomfortable with that. Awesome. Yes, great. And I'm not gonna take up too much time. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. When you realize the setup, you're like, oh, I should be facing this way. I should be facing this way. Oh, all right, I know. I mean, all right, look, I'm with y'all, but there's people here, y'all. So there's a bunch of things happening. And so I just felt like I should just make an announcement real quick on what's happening on the ground here. And so we have a shut it down protest happening, which has been happening now for 4 or 5 weeks. And they're all happening on Fridays. So that's happening at Wall Street. And I can send this to you so you can send it to folk that are on here and I can share with folk that are here. But it's starting at Foley Square at 3 p.m., 12/8, which I believe is Friday, right? Can anybody confirm that? Yes, great. So it's on Friday and they'll be meeting at Foley Square at 3 p.m. And then it's going to move to City Hall at 4, and then it'll go to Wall Street at 5. So this is all happening to shut down Wall Street, right? Hit them in the pockets where it hurts, because we know that that's exactly where we'll be able to make a lot of noise. So that's happening this Friday. And then also, if you haven't hit up your reps, please hit up your reps. It takes a very quick text message to 30403. 30403, and you let them know, I'm a contingent, this is where I'm at, and they'll let you know directly who you can call. They'll give you a whole bunch of information. It's like an automated message that lets you know where you're at. And so if you haven't done that, that does support. We've already gotten a lot of Congress people to finally sign off on a ceasefire. But it's been 60 days of the genocide of Palestine now. And so we need to continue, right? We cannot get tired. We all know that this is not a Amazon Prime situation, right? This is not, you're going to get it the next day and we're going to figure it out. We're going to continue having to fight for Palestine to be free, for the occupation to be free, and for the ceasefire to happen now. And then the last thing I want to share is something that's actually happening in the Bronx, and we should be fighting for in the Bronx as well. It's really urgent. So Kingsbridge Road, right across from where the Armory is, all of those businesses that are in that area are actually being targeted, and it's 12 of them. So just want to say this right, on Thursday, December 7th at 11 a.m., there's going to be a protest to protect the rent stabilization and also the abusive landlords of these 12 businesses that are being targeted to move out of the space. So if you want information on that, to hit the ground, and it's all the same thing, right? We're fighting the same exact demon, which is capitalism. But let's focus on here in the community, and then also in the bigger, wide spectrum of Palestine being under siege and under occupation and genocide at the moment. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And I appreciate y'all. Yes. Here you go.
Great, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, for the public service announcements. Anyhow, thanks everybody for sitting and enjoying the show here tonight. Thank you again to Michael. Let's hear it again for Michael. And we normally end our readings with a benediction. That's what I call it, because it's sort of like church, and like when you leave, there's sort of like the priest or the minister says something that sort of is uplifting and, has you leave, So I say it's a benediction. It's normally spoken by Amy Joy, the co-host with the most. Tonight, we're going to have Michael lead us in that. So let's bring back Michael one more time. And thanks again, everybody. Hopefully, we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Stuffy Brown, everyone, right?
I don't know if I remember it. I'm gonna try. Are you? Are the wind beneath my words? Okay. How does it start?
All right. So just let everybody know what the 3 words are.
Oh, yes. So
Ask them to say it with you in unison on 3.
okay. So the 3 words that we do at the closing of each of these events is let, love, lead. So now we're going to do it together as a group. 1, 2, 3. Let, love, lead. Oh, that's powerful. I love that. That's great. So let me see if I remember this. Love at the helm. Take me to an unseen realm. In it, I'll dwell under sacred spell. What's the next one? Waving until your gaze sets still. Love, lead the way. And now we finish together as a group with the 3 words we just rehearsed. Let love lead. Thanks, everybody. And also, last thing, because I'm not amazing at self-promotion and forgot to promote myself. I don't have a website yet, but my Instagram handle, my social media handle, and my website will probably be a version of this, is Laugh It Off, one word, and then the number 2. So Laugh It Off 2. And thank you to Art in the Basin. Thank you to Amy Joy. Thank you to Tim. Thank you to Mon Amour. And is that everything? Yeah. Okay. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks again, everybody.